So I'm having a chat with Kris James. How are you?
I'm very well. How are you doing?
Not too bad, thanks so much. So
Good,
we've
good.
been playing a new single of yours called "Hold On." Tell us a little bit about the single.
Yes, it's probably I feel like it's one of the best ones, maybe the best, although the next single's really good as well. But essentially, hold on, most of the songs that I write are about love, that person you're in love with. Then this song essentially it was about kind of having that kind of ride or die person that you can really get through anything that happens, anything that the world throws at you, you'll get through it together. But I think the current state of the world that was in, we then kind of came to the idea of making it, more focused for today's what's going on in the world. There's crazy wars, there's just the politics, just nightmare. So essentially, it's a little message to the world to say, we mustn't forget what we're here for, and we all need to hold on because we will get through these bad times together. So, and actually, the messages that have come on Facebook, it's quite interesting because usually you just go, "Oh yeah, great track," but I can, from what the response has been, everyone's listening to the words and they're like, wow, the sentiment in this song, this is exactly what we need right now. So it seems to be doing a good job, and thank you so much as well for you lovely guys for playing it. I really appreciate it.
Pleasure's all mine. Well, like I like to say, if you write good music, I'm going to play it. So
Yes,
that's on you.
great.
So you've released a couple of singles recently. Now, are we now
Yeah,
gearing up towards your next record?
correct. Yes. So we were gonna do four and drop an album, but we've done Forever Forever. We've now got Hold On. The third single will come with the album, which is going to be called The Fire. And it's a great song. I think that's probably the best song on the album, produced by Sky Adams, who's just done the last Kylie Minogue record, and God knows who else, Doja Cat and everyone else. So I think the sound is great. I think he's really brought a really conducive sound to the whole album now. So we were due to release in September, but I've got like a lot of stuff going on in Japan now, which is great. I think
Mm.
this kind of multi-language situation has really helped the project because it's now being listened to by people in their mother language, which really makes the exposure much larger. So I think the plan is to put the album out at the beginning of September, one more single, which will be called The Fire. And then I'm going to be on tour November and December in Japan and the UK. So pretty busy up until then. And I'm currently sitting in a house with no furniture other than a couch because I've just sold my flat. So I'm in the midst of moving house as well and for getting an album done. So it's a busy time to say the least.
Yeah, most definitely. And you touched on the multi-language thing. Hold On, for instance, has been translated into Japanese, German, French, and Spanish. Tell us about
Yeah.
the reason behind doing that.
Well, AI is upon us and it's getting really fast, really quick. And I think that in life, I always think if you're not an early adopter of things, you get left behind, right? So, I've had a couple of people trying to say they're doing it, but nobody's done it yet. So I'm actually the first person in the whole of the UK to do it. And essentially, it was to get it into markets where, you know, they may not speak English. And so why not give them the ability to actually understand the track? And so we teamed up with a company in Japan and one really lovely guy called JJ and another guy called Reb, and they're kind of developing this AI technology, which essentially means that whether you're singing, whether it's a podcast, anyone can understand it anywhere in the world, regardless of what language they speak. So it's really interesting. So we thought, why not do like the five main territories and get it done in Spanish, English, French, Japanese, And I wanted to definitely do it in obviously English because I'm an English singer. But I think the more the merrier, really, because we're already seeing on Spotify now different countries that were never apparent before. So it's definitely working. And I think as it's rolled out, I think it'll be what everybody does in the next 5 to 10 years. I think every artist will have a multi-language record, whether it be every language in the world or maybe just the top territories that sell pop music.
Mm. Are you going to keep doing this then with the future single releases and the album as well?
100%. And I think it's also really interesting because one of the greatest things about streaming is you can see where you're actually hitting. And so what we do is if there's certain territories that mostly speak their own language, but they also speak English. So there's a listeners there will then, add that language to it. So I've said to my manager, like, we should try to get as many as possible. But of course, every song you translate costs a lot of money because
Mm.
you have to employ a singer in that country to sing in English in their voice so that you've got kind of the song, and then the AI strips their voice and then listens to all the data from my voice and applies my voice to their voice. It's so strange and weird. But every time you do it, it's thousands and thousands. So, it's really cost dependent, really, whether we can carry on doing it but certainly for the album, we'll be doing 5 languages for sure.
Nice. That's great to hear. And you get the chance to play these singles, this album, on when you go out on tour later this year. You're supporting Lulu. How does that feel?
Really good. My mum loves that. And of course, Lulu, Cilla Black, it's all very of the era of the Beatles, and so for me, I am really excited. I've heard Elton John might be making an appearance, because he is a best friend, and so it'll be really interesting. I've actually said to my manager, if you haven't got any of the Take That lads, I'd jump on with Relight My Fire. That'd be quite cool for us both to get on stage, So yeah, so it's exciting. I'm really, really excited.
Are you going to be doing some of your own shows as well?
Yeah. So we're going to do a show in Liverpool, a show in London, just before I go on tour with Lulu. I think they'll be around the album launch in September. So there'll be 2 dates in London and in Liverpool. Because I kind of feel like demographically, I've got the people in the northwest of England will come to Liverpool, and then the people from the south will go to London. So just 2 shows. And then we've got 10 with Lulu. So anyone that doesn't see it can come to one of those shows,
Yeah, absolutely. Are you hoping to branch out abroad as well, considering that you're going to be releasing music in their languages?
Yeah, 100%. So it's just so weird. Like the Japanese, I've never even been to Japan on a music capacity, and it's like they released Forever, and then Hold On, and then all of a sudden I'm in the biggest 4-page spread in the biggest music magazine in Japan. It's like Taylor Swift, Harry Styles, Kris James. I'm like, what the actual? So because of that, I'm getting loads of Japanese people on socials now. So I'm going to go out to Japan, but it's just so weird because they already listening to the music, and it's mad when you get off a flight and there's people there going, hello, it's like, it's just weird. So yeah, so I'll be in Japan probably 2 months of this year, and then the subsequent other territories that are picking up, probably Spain. We're looking at going into Mexico, doing a bit of South America. But yeah, so Japan's the first one anyway, because they seem to love it. So that's cool.
Are you going to need to learn your own songs in Japanese now?
Japanese, I'm hoping not. But, it's quite interesting in the Japanese market because a lot of Western artists haven't gone back to the Orient since COVID. So I think they're really excited because I'm one of the first that's decided to go back, because it's so much red tape now after COVID and stuff. But, I just think if there's a demand for you, you have to go, and I'm so excited because I do love a bit of sushi as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd like to talk a little bit about the writing side of things. So for yourself, how do tracks normally start off?
Well, we're very kind of old-fashioned, kind of jam styles. I mean, it really depends. I'm away a lot kind of promoting the music, and I've got a business that I promote as well. So generally my songwriting partner will either build up an idea musically with a bit of a riff on a guitar and send it to me, and I'll be like, yeah or no. If I like it, then when I get back with them, then we'll start to build the track. But it's generally a jamming of instruments first, and then I'll kind of hum some melodies that are quite, hooky, repetitive. And then once the kind of melodies are down for the intro, the verses and the chorus, then we generally have an idea of what it's always going to be about. What else can you write about other than being in love, being out of love, having a great night out? So it's kind of, the subject's always about love and being happy and sad in love. But we'll then start with poetry then and get all the lyrics to rhyme and build a story. But the key for me, I write melodies, so it's important to have a really hooky, repetitive melodies that really get your ear, because we don't listen to lyrics, we listen to the melodies, so I'm quite good at getting really interesting melodies, and then we put the lyrics on top. So some people will write lyrics first without music. I'm not a trained writer, so I just, for some reason, I get melodies in my head and I have to just hum them, and then we turn that into music. It's weird, isn't it? I mean, I don't know, do you write music?
No, I don't. No.
It's just with me seeing the guitar behind you. I didn't know whether, but it's so strange because people are like, well, how do you do it? It's like, I don't really know. It just happens, but I'm really, really passionate about it as well. I get really emotional because I think when you create something out of an empty space, it's quite unique thing to do. When, you listen to all these amazing songs on the radio and you're like, where did they come from? Because there's nothingness. And then by the end of the day, you've got a track and you're like, oh my God. So yeah, so I like jamming because I think if you get in a room with a couple of great musicians and they just play, I just sing stuff and the song just all of a sudden is there and you're like, wow, that's an amazing chorus. Right, let's get that down. So yeah, I mean, I've been in situations when I was in my band where you're like 5 people in a room and it's like, well, I like that. Oh, all right. Well, I'm just like, I can't work like that. I just need to be like the old fashioned, like they did it, like the Beatles did it, you know? So that's kind of how it happens, but it's very related, you know, it depends where we are, what we're doing. We've written songs just out having lunch, like I'll start going, what do you think of this? And he'd be like, oh, I love that. And we're like jamming, then the phone comes out and we record it. So it's really interesting actually. And then there's days where I can't write a song. I'm like, no, I just can't do it today. It's weird.
Yeah, and you mentioned your band from many years ago, The Scheme. That was when we first met about 8 years ago now. It's been a while.
Yeah. Well, that's well gone now, but I have to say being in that band was great. Some people say, you know, well, you gutted, you kind of wasted 7 years. And my kind of answer to that is we didn't waste 7 years. We had 7 years worth of education, experience, you know, playing arenas in America and just like those type of experience. Because like when I watched an interview with like the lads from One Direction, they're like, yeah, it's over, but you know, we've shared #1 albums together. It's like we've shared experiences that not many people will have ever experienced. So even though it didn't work out for us, we still had kind of that idea and that holographic fame in America because we were on TV, we were touring, we were playing arenas, and Ed Sheeran was playing the next night. It was like mental, but it all comes to an end, you know, and you just have to be grateful that it happened.
And you probably wouldn't be where you are today if you hadn't have done The Scheme.
100%. To be honest with you, I really feel like The Scheme was the thing that got me ready for being a solo act, because getting on a stage on your own in front of 5,000 people is no easy task, you know? And I've had to kind of being used to being in a band and then walking on those stages on my own is like, oh my God, can I do this? Yeah, I can do it. You just shut up and sing, Kris. And then I just start, you know, but I mean, some of the big venues we've done, like last year, it was 2 nights at the London Palladium. And it's like, oh my God, I went to London Palladium. And it's like, I live in London. I walk past it every couple of days. I'm like, I'd love to play there. And then I'm on the stage for 2 nights and it's just like, wow. So yeah, I love it. But you are right, The Scheme really helped, because I think had I have gone into solo music 10 years ago, probably wouldn't have worked out. I wasn't ready, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Kris, it's been a pleasure having a catch up with you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I really appreciate you playing the track. Thank you very much.